morning. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me, Sean Tank Top, and we are over here. I'm in Casa de Tank Top right now, reporting to you live from quarantine. I also have with me my good friends, the Draces over there. We got Dustin and Morgan. How you doing over there, Draces?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, and I gotta say, again, just like even coming off of from last week, right out the gate, the fact that we got the episode number right and the title of the episode right on our little opening crawl type deal.
Batting 2 for 2.
Oh well, yeah. Well, no, 2 out of 3 because I fucked up last week. You know what I mean? That's what happens when you're a moron like me. You can basic competency is you can kind of congratulate yourself. Hope everybody's doing good. What's going on, everybody? Hello, CJ. Hello, Shane.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Shatara. What's going on? Tiara's Playground. Black Velvet. What's going on, everybody? Appreciate everybody coming by. Just so you guys know, we are doing Lovecraft Country, episode 3 of season 1, Holy Ghost. This is a full fucking spoiler discussion. If you ain't seen this shit, we are going to be talking about every single thing about this episode. Maybe not every single thing, but we're going to be talking about a lot of the big plot points. So this is definitely a very spoiler-heavy discussion. And then going through on for this week, just like we did last week. If you want to, we're going to be doing our kind of breakdowns of the episode, our MVPs, our That's So 2020 moments, all that shit. One thing that you guys want to keep in mind is that we are also doing, if you have a super chat, if you send us a super chat for any dollar amount, what we are going to do with that is we're going to be sending that again, same as last week, to the Milwaukee Bond Fund to help with the brothers and sisters in the Black Lives Matter movement out there in Kenosha and Milwaukee. We sent 20, we said like a portion of it. We got about, I think, $20. I popped an extra $5 on it. We got to send $25 to people that really need it, that are on the world stage fighting for the right fucking thing. And so, just so y'all know, if you guys do contribute to that, you will be contributing to a great cause. So if you have like a question, a theory, or anything that you want to chip in via the super chat, we will get to that at the end of the discussion, at the end of the live stream. We're going to save a little bit of time to go through all of those. And to anyone who's considering donating or does donate tonight, we thank you very much. So appreciate y'all so much. Let's talk about it.
Oh my gosh.
Episode 3, the Holy Ghost. Very powerful episode.
Yeah.
I gotta say. I think that starting off with our general thoughts, let's kind of talk about what was this episode about? What kind of made this whole thing kind of come together, and what was at the forefront of your guys' minds as far as for this episode?
Whew, man. Well, we jumped right into it. It was weird to jump from being chased by googly-eyed monsters into having a resurrection spell gone wrong.
Seriously,
running through a collapsing house led by your ancestors.
Yeah.
Uncle George gets shot in the gut. Like, holy shit, a bunch of stuff just happened, and then all of a sudden, Letty owns a house, and you're like, what?
And
3 weeks later, she has a house.
And a time jump, and we've kind of already we've had the funeral. Everybody, we broke the news to everyone. I mean, I remember that was a little jarring for me, a little personally at the outset of the episode, because I'm like, what is happening? Everybody is way too calm, way too cool. It's one of those things where it's I kind of almost, just because I loved Uncle George and I loved Courtney B. Vance's performance so much, I kind of wanted to have that scene, but then again, I didn't want to have that scene.
Yeah, we assumed that he was, when they cut to the opening, you're in a church, you're assuming it's a funeral, and then you're like, oh no, it's just a church service.
Yeah, it's just a service,
Yeah.
So,
I mean, going off of the whole church thing, I thought the themes in this episode, it felt very much about resurrections and
yes.
being a ghost. Letty is undead. They keep talking about Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
She screams at the victims of the crazy doctor that they're not dead yet, and he like to recognize your power. You're not dead yet, and I think it's almost also Letty recognizing her own power.
Interesting.
And I think the main theme of this episode, I think we're really getting down to it that. Like when Montrose, he says at one point, "Oh, we're supposed to break it to everybody that white people also have magic powers too, on top of everything else." And I'm like, and I think that the show kind of answered back that no, but you like this black family, they also have powers, and you have ancestors, you have powers too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just this cult, it's not just these white people.
Right.
So,
yeah. I think that's well said. I mean, and also it was directed by the same director that did episode 2, Daniel Sackheim. He also directed. He's done a bunch of other stuff. It was written by Misha Green, who again, like, what balls on this? Like, not to what balls, but like what an amazing power move that Misha Green decided to kind of be like.
What kind of fucking hubris is this?
She got moxie is what I'd say. She got moxie.
Moxie, I'd say that. I mean, like, but just like Misha Green being like, yeah, I'm going to make essentially like little mini movies kind of with obviously some through lines kind of going through each and every one of these. But it was just like the undertaking of that. And then kind of, even though I'll say, I think now, especially now after, we're at episode 3 and we've kind of gotten to, I said this in our reaction video. Now that we kind of have the tempo of this show and we really have our head wrapped around the fact that we're going to kind of get like these mini installments episodes type thing. I think it's settled in and the show's just going to kind of just take us for, not that the show has never hesitated to take us for a ride, but I don't know, man. I mean, like, it was like really bold, super spooky. Like, I think this was the spookiest and kind of scariest and most unsettling.
It was terrifying, not only for like just just normal horror gore. Yeah. But then you're seeing this gore and these monsters that are something out of like 13 Ghosts, that movie. But 13 Ghosts, those ghosts don't have a whole bunch of historical baggage on them.
Yes.
So when you're watching a movie like 13 Ghosts, you're like, oh my God, crazy. That.
Right.
But you're not, this one, you're like, oh my God, crazy. Oh. And then you're just thinking, and it's
100%.
And then heavy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a wild ride.
It was a ride, and just like a little shout out to anybody who was kind of calling me out in the comments in the reaction video, insofar as baby for in regards to Babyhead, and just what I want to say is before we go forward is that, like, I think that sometimes I will process certain unsettling imagery with like maybe kind of laughing as a way to kind of like skirt around it. It was kind of more a response to just the simple design, and also like and that thing. It wasn't. I was clocking and was kind of processing the significance of that character and everything that was going on with all of those character designs. Just so everybody knows, I wasn't just like maniacally laughing at like this unfortunate, at like this historically kind of. I think like the cool thing about it is that it's horror, but it's but it's laced with history.
Yeah. But also, I think the creators were like, I think they had meant for the first reaction to be like, like classic movie. So I think your reaction was kind of what they were going for.
And then once it marinates for a little longer, it kind of, I think that's true. Also just doing the super chats right off the bat. Shout out to Laura.
Thank you.
From Victoria down in Canada. Thank you so much to Laura. We appreciate you. And
did you say down there in Canada?
Oh, yeah. Down there.
Stand on your head.
Totally. And thank you so much to Ant. We appreciate you so much. That we appreciate the subscription and we appreciate the super chat. If either of you guys have any kind of theory or any question about the episode that you want us to sink our teeth into, just please do let us know in the comments, and we will get to that at the end of the episode. But kind of going through our general thoughts, I thought it was a whirlwind of an episode. Wait, Dustin, did you have a little spill over there?
Yeah, I just dropped a White Claw in my pants.
Hey,
we're flying to play it off.
It's my first one too. I'm not even drunk,
dude. Doesn't that suck when that happens?
It's a brand new White Claw. I just poured it like right into. I'm like, oh
man, I'll tell you what. If pouring White Claw in your pants makes me cool, then Dustin's Miles Davis.
Miles Davis.
That's so 2020.
That's so 2020.
Pour one out into my crotch.
Right.
Yeah, was Miles Davis at that house party?
He might have been.
Dude, seriously, that was. I mean, like, again, that was another one. You said that. I think when we were talking about that, Mo, is that that house party. We need Ruby ripping it up at a street fest. We need Ruby ripping it up at a house party, because it just to see it happening, and then just to kind of, just to be like, nom, 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 that's so delicious. All the things that we kind of can't do now that we're in quarantine, that we've been in quarantine, I mean,
yes, but also that party was lit.
It's like the coolest fucking, like, a live rhythm and blues band. You know what I mean? In like this 3-story fucking like Addams Family house.
Oh, okay.
Sign me the fuck up.
Here's a funny thing. So
you almost did it again.
Shut up. I'm excited.
Okay.
Wait, do you have a haunted White Claw? Like it's like the elevator, and it's trying to.
No, we moved our whole setup, and everything's left is now right. So like I'm just like, it's fucking me up. Like
you're a little bird.
Yeah, like,
down cats and dogs.
Yeah, we tried to move it so our eye lines are different, and like I'm just used to everything being in different spots, so I'm knocking everything over.
We're gonna get there.
We're doing great, but what are you saying about the house?
So in the opening scene of when Letty invites all of her artist friends into the house, we see a bunch of guys being like, elevator's broke. She's like, I know. And they're moving a piano to the 3rd floor.
Jesus.
And then we see a piano on the 1st floor during the party scene.
How many pianos?
Just saying, you probably could just be like, hey, can I use the one that's downstairs instead?
Dude, like, that was like, I mean, that they might have, had we not had a couple of our cheers, everybody. But had we not had a couple of our really, really strong, like MVP and low-key MVP, inductees for this episode, those guys taking that piano up to the 3rd floor.
Now that's an MVP.
That's a fucking MVP that we can all fucking get on with, man. Oh my god. Anyway,
and then we find out that those artists move out because of the racist people. So they moved that piano up the stairs, then all the way down the stairs like 3 days later.
I can't. You're right. Wouldn't that be pissed? It would have been terrible if maybe probably what I would have done, because I would not have tried to literally confront the evil spirit that was in my house. I would have taken the coward's way out and be like, we're moving. I don't give a fuck. But then you get that call only a week or two later. Yeah. Where it's like and Letitia fucking Lewis gets on the phone, and she's just like, hey, so I'm sorry, but pianos are easier to move downstairs than they are upstairs. You know what I mean? That would have been a hard fucking phone call to make. That's what I'll
know that piano lives there now.
Yeah, the house, the piano, it all kind of. That would have been a fun kill, because when the two white howdy doody motherfuckers broke, when the 3 of them broke in, I thought maybe we could have gotten a steam room. Like the radiator kills one of them rolls out, the other guy gets his head taken off, and then the fucking piano flies down the stairs and crushes one of them. That would have been fucking killer.
I mean, that's a little too Final Destination, but I'm here for it.
I'll take it. I'll do a house zoo with where the piano, they get sucked in, and then they get chopped up by the piano.
Yeah. Also, the white dude totally had a Crispin Glover haircut. like a 1950s Back to the Future Crispin Glover.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he totally
villain
did.
part.
Like,
Yeah,
no shade on Crispin Glover, but he does have a racist face, even though I know he's probably a perfectly lovely man.
Right. I think Crispin's doing okay. Oh God, but then like,
But he does have that racist face.
well, we'd want him to suffer a terrible death just because of that fucking annoying ass laugh that he has. Remember that shit that he was doing or whatever? Like that's how I was kind of laughing when the white dudes were getting their just desserts. So all right, well let's kind of bring it on over because there were a lot of great scenes. And we're gonna actually. Oh no, wait. Let's talk about our favorite scenes for this episode.
Okay.
Favorite scenes for this episode. And there were a bunch of like really good scenes. Like, but I do think
we all agree on the scene, right?
This hasn't happened where all three of us kind of came in and was just like, this is the scene of the episode. This is the scene. What was it? What did we end on, Dustin?
We're going with the exorcism scene.
Exorcism, far and away.
Oh,
or as I call it, Letty. She forms a ghost union. Sees the means of production and the goods that they're producing are dead bodies. So all the victims are like, no, we're going to make dead bodies out of racist white folk now.
That's right. We're seeing, the means of production. We are going to be black proletariats, and we are going to basically steal it from this fucking like Okie from Muskogee.
This is a lesson that we need to learn. It's like there's more of us than there is of them.
Yes.
There's like, how many did he kill? 8 people? There's 8 of them.
Something like that, yes.
And she's like, remember your power. You have power.
Yeah.
You're not dead
You're not dead yet. That's really cool. Like, that line was so good that you're not dead yet.
I think she was saying it to herself, too, because she came back from the grave, so she was, like, telling herself. She was telling them.
Yeah.
And somebody in the comments earlier, Wordy Wolf, I think, said basically, the episode is called The Holy Ghost. It's all about Letty. We have George as the father.
Right.
Tick as the son. And Letty as the Holy Ghost. Because Letty died. Like, last episode, Letty died.
Yeah. She's the spirit, kind of, in a way. Yeah. The Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit type
and
thing.
so this episode is all about Letty allowing herself to live and proving that she wants to live. But more importantly, Jurnee, that performance was unbelievable. Like the pump where she's just like literally like
she did it.
And
for sure.
just like wheezing and the soundtrack, the gospel music that was playing during that was like fucking intense.
Unbelievable. I mean, like, no, it really was. I mean, especially, it's like there was, again, this show, and like, I can't remember right off the top of my head, but the musical director of this program and the amazing things that and again, like, I think that it's not as radical as maybe doing a Gil Scott-Heron during like this crazy thing. Like it felt a little more, it made perfect sense as soon as it started. You know what I mean? This emancipatory kind of act that Letty and the spirits were kind of going on to defeat this guy. A guy whose name is Epstein, by the way. Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? Like that shit was pretty well. But like the
Epsteins are garbage all around.
It turns out every single Epstein is pretty rough. It's
when they were talking about how like, oh, I know it was the police sergeant who got his victims, but I was like, what was police sergeant's name? Ghislaine
Maxwell.
The police sergeant in Chicago.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, Sergeant Maxwell. I mean, like, oh God, yeah. It was definitely like, and I wonder if it was meant to be as on the nose as it was, and maybe it was. I mean, like, I don't think that in this modern day you use the name Epstein and not kind of know that is just loaded.
I'm assuming they filmed that before all that shit went down.
I also would have to no, but that's been a thing.
Well, yeah.
That's true.
But I also would have to check because I did read the book, finished the book, but I don't.
Oh, wow.
It could have been.
Okay.
No, in the book it was actually, I think Winthrop was the last name of.
Oh shit.
I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's the Winthrop house.
That's true.
Yeah, but I think in the book there's the ghost, the evil ghost in there.
Yeah.
And he's not a serial killer. He's just one of the cult assholes. He is his name is Winthrop.
Okay. All right. I got you.
But
Right
they
on.
decided, and I thought it was really smart, to just use Winthrop because that was like a famous pioneering neighborhood. So
Absolutely. 100%.
Sense.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, I think that was, again, that was the first time where all three of us were 100% in unison with like what was our favorite scene, the best scene, all of that of the episode.
And a lot of that too was her as an actress. Like,
oh God.
It was not any like that. All of those decisions were hers. I read an interview where she's like, I felt like this connection to history, and I felt the need to just go for it.
Yeah.
And she did.
No, absolutely.
Did.
No, that's what I'm saying. And that kind of, and you know, even though we got a couple of our kind of picks are congealing, because I think that gives way to the episode MVP. Obviously there's a lot of strong players, but I gotta say, this shit, the MVP is Jurnee Smollett Bell. I mean, like, the entire episode lives and dies by her performance.
Yeah.
Like, I think like she is kind of the main through line. All of the big moments, other than like Tick and Montrose kind of having that interesting conversation, and you kind of got a little bit more of a feel for their dynamic as father and son. But it was all kind of swirling around Letty. You know what I mean? Like, and I thought that Jurnee, I mean, because you get everything in this episode. Like, you get her as like, she gets to have like her kind of super vulnerable moments, like that we had, like, you know, that we had like kind of like post exorcism. She gets to be a scream queen. She gets to be like an empowered, like a sexually powerful like woman unapologetically. She also gets to be flawed insofar as the scene between her and Ruby. That scene to me was like one of the most important, just because like you can be powerful, you can be sexy, you can take agency over your own history and over your own story, but you're also a human being, and you also make mistakes. And also shout out to the actress who plays Ruby. I just thought that was probably my favorite scene of just like straight up character work, exposition, just two players just kind of really like having, you know, in ways. I think that, like, you know, the big, like, the extra scene was obviously probably very physically and emotionally draining, but like that, to do like that subtle work that her and Ruby were able to do, I thought was incredible. Also, I mean, like, then, you know, even like the scene in the scene after like the bathroom sex scene.
I was hot. It
was so hot. It was so cool. And she was like, again, she was dancing, she was moving, very powerful. But then afterwards has like this, you know, we all in our reaction video, we were just like, this is not just.
It's not just her period.
This is not just a period.
But it's like if I died and I'm like, oh, I died without ever doing it. Like, oh, that's the first week one.
Right. And
like, we got to get this going.
And your first time as Jonathan Majors, like fucking pulled up against the wall, like in a bathroom and stuff like that.
It was a lovely way to lose it.
Not too shabby. Also, I remember about that
house you own.
In a house that you fucking own. Oh my!
Now that's hot. That's horny. That's horny as fuck.
You want to talk about science? You want to talk about science fiction in 2020?
You want to get a millennial all riled up, be like
owning a home. Owning a home before you just like, could you imagine owning your own home?
Baby, fucking in the bathroom that I own.
Right? And I mean,
I've never done that. I've never fucked in a house that I own.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's science fiction. Like, imagine to buy a home before you boned anyone. That's just like,
I can't even imagine buying a home.
Right, that's just off the table, right? Totally. I mean, like and also shout out to the writers, shout out to like how they played it, because I loved Tick post like, what was thought to be a period, like a little period, like blood after the sex and everything like that. He was like, no, it's fine.
It's like, chill.
It's totally cool.
Whatever.
That was great. Shout out to anyone that digs that digs on the ladies, guys, girls, however you identify. I'll tell you this right now: a period doesn't stop nothing but a sentence. I don't give a shit. Like if you're unless the partner, obviously, sometimes they just don't feel comfortable. You know what I mean? Sometimes people just aren't into it.
That is a good point.
Oh my god! Everybody's like, we got our.
Everybody has like some really good points.
Everybody has some great points. Who do we got? Oh my god, Easter. Oh, okay.
Man, I definitely have to say, I love that you guys are chiming in on this, and like seriously, like this one comment, you heard us go, oh shit.
Yeah.
Who do we got?
Like from MCJ talking about how she doesn't own the home. She's on an installment contract. So
yeah, because like back in the day, so if you were on an installment contract, which was like pretty much the only thing they let Black people do, you could put in installments for years. And if you missed or were late on even one, you would lose all that money and the home. And that was like, and so when she said they can't make any major changes in the house,
that's right,
would forfeit they could also get the home taken. So yeah,
that's right.
That is a really good comment. And
that's a great comment. Thank you to MCJ. Thank you so much, dear. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Also,
I go into that deeply in Lovecraft Country, the book. That's the only reason why I know that is because I recently finished reading the book.
Right. And shout out to Bobby Jackson. Shout out to Katie Ann. We're going to get to all of those.
Yeah, definitely.
All of those episodes. Thank you so much for the super chat. I can't wait to get into. We also got, guys, we got 70 people on the stream right now, up 30 from where we were or about 20 from where we were last time. I'm absolutely loving this fucking conversation that we got going on there. But I think, Jurnee Smollett Bell, episode MVP. That's again, that was another one where it's just like, who the fuck else are you gonna fucking give it to? You know what I mean? We got ourselves coming up. The next one, we have the low-key MVP.
Yeah.
Low-key MVP. And I think that, and another thing is, as is tradition here on Lovecraft, on the Watchers in the Bar, House Burlington, Lovecraft Country live streams, is that because this show, like we said before, like I said before, it's got some horror elements laced with history. And sometimes that history is really dark and it's really real. And it's really something that's, occasionally tough to kind of deal with. And we need to take what little bright, and especially in 2020, we need to take what little bright spots we can. Okay, if anyone that's tuned in the last couple, that we've been taking, we get our little happy place has been the Blinky kill from episode 1, where he punches through a fucking racist chest. I think we got ourselves another one, y'all. So if the shit gets too real and you guys need an Ellie the elevator moment, just shout it out and we're going to get a little bit of this.
And I'll give it up to, I think the first person to name her Ellie was it was like Cinema Cynic.
Cinema Cynic. Cynic shouted that out.
In our YouTube comments. So thank you for christening her Ellie.
I'm
assuming that was one of the friendly ghosts.
Ellie the elevator, long may she reign. Right? That was what, so, and again, like our low-key MVP was Ellie the elevator. That scene in particular, the Radiator did some good work, but again, as much as I like my cutaways and as much as I'm not like, the biggest, like I'm a gore hound, I'm a horror fan, but I'm not like, not the biggest. I know other people that are into that shit way more than I am, but, the Radiator, Randy the Radiator, who killed the other Randy the Radiator, he did pretty good.
Slouch.
He ain't no slouch. As far as like a kill count, he's got 2, which is like, again, very good. But as far as like just a frankly grotesque but very delicious fucking kill, Ellie the elevator's got to be our low key MVP. Yeah, very satisfying, and also just like that just so I went in and because when I pulled that clip, I went in and counted the amount of seconds because that wasn't the whole shot. Because the thing that I remember about that scene more than anything, and Dustin,
they lingered.
Yeah.
It really was like
just lovingly lingered on that gaping neck wound.
And just like the heart still pumping and just shooting out the blood and everything like that. You can see the trachea, like the level of detail. I don't know. We might have ourselves a slow motion moment coming up towards the end of the episode, a little breakdown that we'll do. But yeah, that's our low key MVP. And I think, very aptly and rightfully so. Moving right along, as I hope everybody else is following along with us and stuff like that, we also have been handling our favorite or the best or one that we thought kind of stood out to us, like as far as Easter eggs or details that are in this show. This show obviously has a metric shit ton of them all over the place, and a couple of big ones that I think Bobby had already. We'll go through a couple of the other ones because I think that's the one thing about like that's what I love about like good Twitter is that it'll do some of the work for you, and it'll be like, yo, check this out. Like this is something you got to think about. This is some, and we didn't catch this on the first time. It was something that I kind of added in while I was editing. But Bobby broke this one up. I'm just gonna highlight him right now. I think this is the darkest of the Easter eggs. Certainly the one that hurt my heart the most was the Emmett Till Easter egg with the Ouija board scene, which kind of like more of the dead giveaway of that is is like the tie here. I'm going to take down.
I think they also call him Bobo, which I think was his nickname.
Yeah, let me take this away real quick here. Hold on. All right, there we go. Yeah, I mean, like,
there it is.
The tie down to the clip, down to kind of everything that they kind of did insofar as like all of their costuming and stuff like that was concerned. Yeah, that one, Bobby, thanks a lot for chiming in with the super chat. I think that's easily kind of one of the biggest, the strongest ones that came through as far as Easter eggs is concerned. That I thought just when I saw that on Twitter. Or I think it was when I saw that on the Lovecraft Country subreddit, which is actually a really great subreddit. One of the few good places in Reddit. You know what I mean?
There's some good Reddits.
I mean, the HBO subreddits were good. The Watchmen subreddit.
The Watchmen subreddit was awesome.
You got to get some good moderators.
I think good moderators, and like and you know like. Just like stay away from Star Wars and you'll be okay. You know what I mean?
Also, the Martin Luther King Jr.
That was
one,
really good.
I did
that
not
was
know
another
that.
one.
I read up a little bit. Apparently, it was a college girlfriend who only was interviewed in the last couple. Like, she's really, really old, obviously, but she was interviewed in the like I don't know how many years ago, but not that long ago.
Sure.
It was like her first interview about it, and she was like, "Yeah, we dated." But we kind of figured that I kind of knew his like civil rights thing. We couldn't really get married, but she didn't really frame it as like, oh well, we were like destined and they made him marry someone.
No,
she was just like, no, it was just we kind of saw how it was.
Yeah,
well, and Letty's comment where she's like, well, yeah, he can still stand up for black people and love a white woman. That's fine, I guess.
Right. Right. I do. Right. I did like that little asterisk that you sort of put on that, you know, insofar
as she's like carrying a giant.
Yeah, that was great.
I thought it was a little bit unfair to his wife, where I'm like, come on, like maybe like they're like, oh, he made you marry her. Like she's probably at home watching Lovecraft. I think Loretta Scott King.
Loretta Scott King.
Coretta
Yeah.
Scott. She's still alive,
Coretta.
right? So she probably. I hope she didn't see that. That's rude.
Right. Hopefully not. You know what I mean?
Rude.
Yeah. Right. No shit. So yeah, I thought
Coretta.
It is Coretta. Yeah. So then the as far as like one that you guys had talked about, because that's the other thing is because we're from Chicago, we're based out of Chicago, and so the fact that this show takes place in Chicago, there's definitely like a bit of the local history that we kind of pick up on a little bit, maybe a little bit more than most viewers do.
Can you imagine the Smollett family gatherings over the holidays where like guess which one of them has a better connection to Chicago right now? Poor Jussie did not have a good run in Chicago.
You know what?
Right.
Jurnee has done such an amazing job that Jussie can come back.
Yeah.
Because your sister's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, well, it's just like that whole dude. That one of those families. They're like the Hemsworth like type of family, but just like with about 3 or 4 more other siblings. Like they're all just like devastatingly attractive, incredibly talented, and like.
Yeah.
And you know, like just like their family unit and stuff like hold on, wait, they're like the fucking Baldwins, where it's like, hold on, there's another one, except for not shitty, because like every Baldwin from Alec on down gets progressively worse. Every time I find a Smollett, I'm like, oh shit, like you guys are awesome, and you're like a painter, like, you know, like, and you live in New York or something like that. So yeah. But you guys found a really, really cool Easter egg that I thought was, and it's a little more locally based from here in Chicago.
Kind of like a twofer Easter egg.
Sure.
Dealing with pioneering, specifically in Chicago.
Yes.
Dustin had found the one because Ruby had mentioned, oh, you don't want to end up like Trumbull Park, which was apparently there was a housing project that was like unofficially segregated, like it was all white. They just did not move in black people. And Betty Howard, who she was like, they thought she was white, but she was actually a black woman. They accidentally rented a home to her, and then the whole neighborhood obviously went full racist on the family.
Right.
So it was like, that was what she was talking about when she was like warning Letty. But then even the house, the Winthrop house, they don't really go into it, but there's a very famous block, Winthrop Ave in Uptown in Chicago. That was famously the only like section on the north side where like black families were allowed to live. And it was because some white guy left his house to his like chauffeur, but it took years and years for them to get they needed signatures from the neighbors to actually allow him to move in there. So he was like the first pioneer. And then the original families, like they still like have gatherings in like block parties. Nice. They know all the names of the families.
That's amazing.
Are the Winthrop Ave families. So
beautiful.
It's like, I was just like, oh, that's right near. We could probably walk there.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, like, that was I remember like when I was reading up on that one kind of like definitely took my head off. Okay, this is an Easter egg. I figure we'll get into a couple. If the super chat kind of is what we're dealing about, I figure we can kind of like
let's get to the
so we're gonna get to everybody. Don't worry about that. But I just want to make sure. But because like we're talking about the Easter eggs, and Black Velvet had an amazing one that we're gonna pull up right here, You had mentioned this. One. But it is literally all of those names of those women were the names of the ghosts.
And this monster, this fucking Dr. Sims dude, not only does he have a statue to him in New York, but of course they did, Dustin.
Of course
they did.
Absolutely.
Tear down all statues.
Like,
no more statues of anybody.
We don't get any more statues.
No,
only statues of like Big Frida. That's it.
Big Frida and Dolly Parton.
Big Frida, Dolly Parton, done.
I think, and then we'll be good.
No,
oh my
but
God.
he did all of his experiments on them without anesthesia because he thought, oh, black women don't feel like, and it's unimaginable. Any woman who's ever had any type of procedure done, like. The sheer fucking horror of that, and that they built a fucking
and then it's one of those things where it's like you do want to say, you're like,
update.
Hold on.
They removed it.
What?
When?
2018.
2018. Okay, mine old news.
Fuck yes.
All right.
No, this is so great. This is why we love our commenters. You guys like
100%.
we know enough to be dangerous, but like we are trying to learn and like
Yes.
we're really trying to keep up with all this shit because this show is so dense.
I'm getting people upset at a statue that they already tore down. Sorry,
Right.
but that statue stood until 2018.
Until 2018. I mean, like, occasionally, that might be the first update of like that's so 2020. Because you want to be like, hey, Dr. Sims, I think you dropped something down there in that elevator shaft. Could you maybe take a look?
I spent far too long reading about like Dr. Sims, and the thing that Dr. Sims was one of those idiots that had a belief that colored people didn't feel pain the same way, and so he didn't use anesthesia on any of his subjects.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there's some people that tried to claim like, oh, well, some of the slaves might have been in pain and came to him, for treatment.
Oh, they always try that shit. No, they always try. They always try that shit. No,
yeah, right.
There's always some motherfucker being like, well, maybe.
Right.
The benefit of the doubt.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to. It's like I don't want to cast the first stone or anything like that. We don't want to act too rash. It's like, no, like here is a bag of diseased dicks, and you can eat every single one of those. Thank you very much. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, I thought that one was really great. Again, thank you so much to everybody who's popped off on the super chats. They've been amazing.
Yeah.
And if we haven't got to, we're going to go back and we're going to get to them at the end of the episode. But moving right along, we are going to move on from the Easter eggs, and we're going to because we've already kind of gotten there, but that's so 2020, or that's so 2020 moment that we had. I mean, like, obviously we talked about like there's, like the fucking annoying, because that like those what do they say? Like, we need like there's weird, because we've been getting a lot of fucking dog whistles from the president about like suburban women and stuff like that. We had that all over the RNC in this last week, where it's just like, we need to keep this, we need to keep our communities, like, I can't remember exactly what the sign said, but those are basically just be like MAGA or back the blue fucking sign, signs. Like if this was made in 2020, that one was pretty good. The burning crosses, obviously, that's like so old it's new type of shit and everything.
I kind of wanna highlight MCJ. It brings up a really great, and this kind of ties back with the Easter egg, is that just the idea of medicine and with black people, like black pain is ignored, and it's like to this day.
Yeah.
Is still ignored, and the medical profession is like racist as fuck. Not only are like more black women die in childbirth, they're always like they're not prescribed pain pills as much as like white people, and so I think that's like actually something that's never end. That's so 2020 is this idea of doctors not seeing black people, doctors kind of always sort of I get relinquishing to that kind of like white fragility type of a thing. It's like whereas it's like no, you don't need it. Like, come on, you guys are tough. You guys know about all that stuff. Like whereas like fucking like Becky McWhite shit stack is like getting like fucking is fucking rolling. Like I wish I could have half of her fucking like. Of her pill game and stuff. But no, thank you again so much to MCJ for that. We appreciate that stuff. Going back, because again, that's the thing. It's like almost every point that we bring up kind of could be a that's so 2020 moment, which is, I know, right?
It's simultaneously the most exhilarating and fucking horrifying thing about this fucking show.
Well, we got some work to do,
Exactly, we do. All of us do. And so, but I remember, I think that you guys had one that I thought, again, was from a very, very recent incident that happened, and it's in regards to the kind of like the rough ride that Letitia takes in the paddy wagon, kind of like towards like the midpoint of the episode. Do you guys want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, the reason that we know it's called like a rough ride is like horrible in of itself, because we know that's what police themselves call it.
Mm-hmm.
And it became nationally famous. I mean, it's been around forever.
Right.
But when the death of Freddie Gray, it was in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just when they put you in a paddy wagon and then they just drive all rough so that you get completely fucked up.
You're not restrained, and so like they can just take like all of these super hard turns as fast as they can fucking take it. And again,
as
like
we
you kind
see
of
what happened with
and
Letty.
it's one way for them to do it and not lay a hand. It's like I didn't lay a hand on him. You know what I mean? Like it's like this weird. It's like racist.
It's this thought. It's like these are not people who have had a trial by jury. Also, even if you have a trial by jury, they're not like, oh, okay, go beat the shit out of him in the alley. Like, that's not how we're supposed to do things, but it's how things have worked forever. It's how police officers have been operating for years and years and years and years. And it's supported by, like, the people in charge. Gray died in 2015.
Right.
And 2017, Donald Trump was, like, doing a speech for the NYPD where he literally said, he's like, oh, when you throw them in the back of a paddy wagon, you see them thrown in rough. And I said, don't be too nice. Like, literally saying this thing that everybody knows killed this man. That's okay.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's why I'm like, oh, man, that's the policing we see in the show has not changed.
No. I think it's just kind of under a bunch of different monikers, and it's like I said, it's like racism, but like they're cheating on their taxes. Like they just know about a more acceptable way to speak about it, or maybe I mean, even though I don't think that, I mean, like that's the one thing about this current administration, this current president, and kind of this current climate. It's like. We've talked about this where I'm just like, at least they're kind of out in the open now. Like insofar as like,
well, we just have cameras now.
Right. Or like people like are literally like going onto like a message board on their personal account and ruining their lives. Hopefully, you know what I mean? But again, it just kind of speaks to that whole thing. And again, like,
oh no, officer, what was his name? What's the guy from Lovecraft? What was it?
Oh,
the
fuck.
Police chief? No, he spoke at the RNC this year. Trump was watching Lovecraft Country thinking it was a documentary.
He's
and he
like, wait a minute, I want to see that guy who got his arm ripped off and turned into a venom symbiote monster. I want to get him as the keynote speaker to open me up. I need a little bit of somebody to warm up the crowd a little bit. You know me. And you're like, oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. President. Like, could you please come over here? Come over and check out this part in the woods. I got some. Oh my God! I think we had to bring him back because I think Ellie's going to get a lot more play. But it's like because you got to bring back an old friend for an old.
We need Blinky.
An old friend for an old foe.
And there's so much about this like stuff that still happens. We haven't had a good news reporting on a burning cross, but I mean, are you going to tell me that that's not still happening?
No, right.
And then all of the lawn signs that are like this is a good white community.
Yeah, it's now all life matters.
Yeah,
all life matters. Back the blue type
back
shit.
The blue bullshit.
And it's astounding even here in Chicago how often Black Lives Matter signs in your yard get tampered with and knocked over and things thrown at them or stolen and it's the same exact thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely. I mean, like, and that's another.
I have to say that was the most Midwest nice racist sign, where they didn't say black people get out,
right?
Or they didn't say the N-word because they're like, oh, we don't use
undesirables. Was it
undesirables
or something to which.
That's that Midwest nice.
That Midwest nice bullshit. They
tell you go fuck yourself without saying it,
but in the nicest way. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not exactly nice.
That's not nice.
It's not nice, but like it's
in the most
urban,
window dressing, in the most kind of opaque way, like the most
an
white
urban white, you know, middle of the road type people who wouldn't see themselves as racist. Like, they don't use the N-word unless they're alone. But they're going to call you an undesirable.
Yeah, 100%. Right. Yeah. Undesirable, like that kind of coded language is still, undesirable thug is like another big, big one. And so, I mean, like the fact that, I don't know, man, that's just like what this show kind of is able to do is to just so kind of deftly weave, like it's a story that is literally just about 70 years in the past. But again, like the things that we're very viscerally experiencing right now and have been experiencing since the 50s and obviously before and after and all that stuff. And it goes to the great theme about like how the past is still alive and how the past is still happening, is still active, it's still teeming with life. In a lot of good and bad things, because that kind of goes back to our theme about like how Letty is able to kind of restore the stories, restore the dignity of the people that were wronged by the doctor. And that's kind of what makes it so powerful.
I was so happy when they were healing. Because I was just like, it was horrifying to think that they were stuck. They were stuck for like so many years in that state, and that they got their humanity back and their power back.
Right.
It was just the kind of like gut punch that had come before when you're realizing the story and you're realizing that this scary ghost that like woke her up in the morning, that wasn't just a scary ghost, that was a murdered woman,
right,
who has to be trapped in the house with her tormentor.
It does. There was a great.
I was like, okay, they got to kill him, and they got all their arms and heads back and shit.
100%. I mean, like, and also that was another thing that I believe. Shout out to Chance, one of our favorite commenters on our reactions and on our live streams. She did point out. That she made the great point, because even though I do think that the scene that to me was one of the most unnerving and one of the scariest ones was when Letty was sleeping and the lady that kind of had no mouth, you know what I mean? It's like easily one of the most chilling, and like that's sort of like my kind of horror moment too, which is just like doesn't really end with necessarily like a big kind of gore, type of a sting or something, isn't as visceral. She's creepy. So, but Chance pointed out, and I thought that this was brilliant, because if you think about it, that ghost, like pulls off the covers and wakes Letty up. Letty realizes that she sees the windows. It's super hot in the house, right? And she goes down to check the radiator, whereas that radiator, the pressure was building and it could have blown up and possibly injured or killed people inside the house. So the ghost wasn't haunting her to menace her.
Yeah.
It was a warning. She was essentially trying to save her. And kind of in a certain way, Letty was able to return the favor in some kind of way, which I thought was like really, really powerful. And I'm like on my rewatch of the episode we go back to the fucking best scene of the episode, but that scene of the exorcism, the poltergeist scene, whatever you want to call it, was so powerful. I haven't gotten chills from watching a scene in a long time, and that was definitely one of them. I mean, like that was incredible. So we only got a couple more things that we're going to go through before we get to we go back and go through everybody's super chats. One of the other things that we kind of like to talk about is the Lovecraft connection, and we got to find all the things that we can come over where we can. Because another thing about this is just like how it's sort of how this show is related to Lovecraft and its kind of tangential kind of relationship with his work. And we've kind of talked about that before, but we were talking about, like, Dustin, you had pulled something from the AV Club, because I think in a very broad sense, like one kind of element that kind of connects to Lovecraft has to do with the scientist and how he was essentially trying to connect different body parts and kind of do. It's hard to say kind of what the means were, like what the ends to the means were, except for just the fact that he's like trying.
I heard something about time travel. I read in
time travel,
and I was like, I don't know, I don't know where. Like there were two different like recap people that he
was connecting young and old.
Well, yeah. Because, I was reading up on the baby head, and they were saying that basically, and it seemed that somebody was trying to say that they had gone through time and like were like an amalgam of their young self and old self, but then we literally see one of the women with her baby like ripped out of her, holding her fetus.
Holding her baby. The baby has a head.
No, I'm saying so. Like I think that I don't know where that time travel came in, and maybe I missed it.
Right. Maybe. I mean, like insofar as what I think it was is the fact that like Lovecraft writes a lot about, especially like the kind of like the monsters, like a Shoggoth or like a Cthulhu or something, is usually a combination of like animal, like a mammal and plant life, or like an amphibian and like a rodent. So it's kind of like this sort of this riot of like flesh and life, and like kind of that doesn't really make sense. And so I think that was kind of, it seemed like that was a way in which the basis for some of the like the things that science and the way that Lovecraft writes a lot of the time has a very science forward collegiate procedural style. He definitely kind of writes as if he's keeping his own medical journal. Like that's definitely how he writes in like at the Mountains of Madness. It's almost like Dracula in a way where it's like taken from like people's actual journals and like logs and stuff. And I thought that was a big Lovecraft connection. But Dustin, you snagged one from the AV Club that I thought was super fucking interesting.
Yeah. So the AV Club was pretty like they really did the research on this, and they found one of Lovecraft's stories called The Outsider, in which a man tries to escape his home where he's kind of dwelled in isolation, and when he goes outside, he realizes that other people see him as a monster, and so it's this kind of like Lovecraft's attempt to mimic Edgar Allan Poe with like Frankenstein, all these other things that he was kind of like interpreting into his work. And so this episode, we kind of see this juxtaposition of Letty as this troubled inside-outside dynamic is raging within her, where she's trying to be this loving sister, but she's also trying to be this free spirit. She's trying to be this carefree, kind of loose, fun party girl, but she's also very like chaste, and she's a virgin. And so it's these like the two like dichotomies that are living within her that she's just kind of struggling with. And when we see that moment after she loses her virginity with Tick, where she just kind of breaks down, and she kind of feels that moment of she feels herself the monster.
Well, because she had also had that moment with Ruby. She sees herself, she's been in the fight. She's been like bailing people out of jail, going to jail herself. Like she's about that. Like she's about that life. Mm-hmm. So she thinks of herself as like an ally. She's doing good things.
Sure.
Ruby rips kind of mask off where she's like, "Well, you are, but you moved in your own friends."
Right.
So she saw herself at one way, and then Ruby tells her how she actually looks.
Right.
And then we see at the end, instead of her friends, she has she rents out low income housing.
Yes.
To families who need it.
Yes.
And so I think the whole show, like, it is. It's like you see yourself one way, and you try to make the way you see yourself match how your actual actions, so that it's not self-serving. Because and like the thing where she's like, "Oh, I'm being so nice. Mom left me all this money, and I'm letting Ruby stay with me in my house," instead of what the actual nice thing to do would be, "Mom left me money. Well, The really nice thing would be like keep the lie and be like, Mom left us money.
That's the way
And
you fucking
you
play it.
split
That's
it three ways with the brother and the sister. You don't tell them that she left it
Right.
all to you.
That's something. It's like just because, you can take that and then like again, that would have been the play. That would have been
the altruistic actual, but no, she wanted to for once be the hero.
Mhm.
Ruby had always been pulling her ass out of the fire. She just wanted to be like the stable one for once.
What was that one again? Like I gotta throw it out to fucking. I absolutely adore all of Ruby's like burns. Like she had a great one in episode 1 where she's like, you don't got to read anything into it. It's just facts. It's like one of the cool. I'm like, I am taking that and I am gonna use it hopefully when it's appropriate. You know what I mean? Like I was like, I'm gonna.
It's like the Paris is burning like definition of shade when they're like, I don't need to tell you you're ugly because you're ugly.
It was like
you're ugly.
I was just like, I'm waiting to hear that come out of Shea Coulee's mouth. You know what I mean? Like that would totally be something that's totally. But this had another one where she goes like, I used to just think that you were a fuck up, but now I know you're just fucked up. I think was the burn, which was just like, oh my god, like
she has some work to do with her sister.
A little bit. I mean, like that was that is a duo right there that I just want. It's like when you have like work friends and like your real true homies and you think that they would get along but they don't for whatever reason. It's just like, oh god damn it, I wish you guys could just come together. You know what I mean? Like because they can work together and they have
said they can throw a really good party together. That's when the two sisters combine.
Oh man.
And they should just throw parties together.
That's
right. And not talk.
Right. And that's or maybe eventually work to talking. You know what I mean? Or at the very least, you're like, all right, I'll keep throwing parties with you, but you are picking up the bill every time that we fucking go out to eat and every time we go to the bar. You know, you can keep that shit. I just get my drinks for free next time that we fucking hanging out. Yeah, I think that's a fucking great one. I do want to say we did want to talk about this. We talked about like our favorite scene, but the opening scene, it's interesting. One of the final scenes was the strongest one, but one of the other strong scenes was the opening, was what we kind of thought was the funeral, and I thought that this was. It's sort of an amalgamation of a lot of things because it's like part Easter egg, part like amazing piece of music, part like It's So 2020. But the other scene that we liked a lot was the opening scene with the poem that was said. It's like, and if you want, I remember you had brought that one up, Dustin, and you had gotten some of that information. The one that was the opening monologue. Yeah. That celebrates the translators. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, I can't take any credit for recognizing it.
No.
Even in our comment, I was like,
we gotta look it up.
No, right. No, it was
know what it is.
That was a file away for later, where you're just like, I definitely want to know where the fuck this came from. You know?
Yeah, and so it was from a monologue that celebrates trans artist Leomi Maldonado and the art of voguing. And it was narrated by Precious Angel Ramirez, and it was used in a Nike commercial, which is where a lot of people clocked it very, very quickly.
Right.
So, you know.
But I mean, I really loved it because they actually, they say lay, and it almost sounds like Letty. Like it sounds like it could be. So it's almost, and it's like, oh, who held you? Who did you meet? And it's like, she died. And it made me think I watched this on my second watch when I was watching this. I was really listening to the words, and it was like it was who held you up, who met you. And I'm like, oh, who did she meet when she died? Like, did she see anyone? Did she see ancestors?
Right.
Did she see no one? Was there nothing? And is that why she's so like freaked out?
Maybe that would be, that's kind of what. Right. Oh, that's the other thing we're talking about, Jurnee. Like, she also gets to go a little crazy in this episode.
Yeah. Oh, she gets a little Jack Torrance.
She gets to be a little Jill Torrance over there. You know,
here's what I love about the character of Letty. Whenever you have like a hashtag strong female character, it's like let them be an asshole and let them be like kind of a mess sometimes, like any other male character.
Exactly. Right.
Like, they get to go a little crazy and then pull it back in the end.
Yeah.
They get to be selfish and then figure it out later.
Right.
I don't know. I like a flawed, strong person.
All of those things. That's the thing about what is. When you listen to the Lovecraft Country Radio podcast, which I do think that everybody should do, that supplemental podcast that HBO puts out, it's really fucking cool. I think that they do talk about, because whenever they talk about the main characters, kind of like the core group of George, Letty, Tick, Hippolyta, everyone, they talk about them. They talk about our heroes. They always use that article, like, as you can see when our heroes are walking up to the thing. And one thing that I think that we need to get away from is kind of this. Is basically to understand, to recognize that heroes in real life and in fiction can and should be flawed, and I think that this episode in particular, which is kind of what makes it such a lovely crescendo, it's kind of bolstered by the writing, taken home by fucking Jurnee and put over the top, is like a full, like I said, she gets to do everything in this episode. It is fucking crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so I think that was sort of that flourish insofar as we can have fucking, so it's not all just like a CW hashtag girl boss moments.
I think we all grew up in the 90s, and there's always like the kids movie. There'd always be a girl in there who's like, she's the best at baseball, and she always has all the jokes, and she's the funniest.
Right,
but that's it. But beyond that, she doesn't really have characterization.
Beyond
and we've had our fill of like strong women. I'm like, but if they don't have a character that you can sink your teeth into, I don't need them.
It's more of right, exactly. Like we want, we want the cheesecake. We don't want the whipped cream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the whipped cream, all that does is like you're not filled up, and you're probably going to get diarrhea. At least the cheesecake, you maybe get diarrhea, but at least it's delicious and it means something. You know what I mean?
It's also kind of a reminder that, like, in like diversity and inclusion doesn't mean it's equitable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can be like, oh, we have a black character. Oh, we have a woman in the writer's room, but we only let her write women's dialogue.
Right.
That's it. Like,
and also another thing that the show kind of is able to get away from is that it is like, that's another thing that like a lot of writers, even still writers that are still putting out work today, who were definitely influenced by Lovecraft and kind of that weird boomerish, like the magical person of color type of
Stephen King.
Stephen King, sorry, yeah, like right. Does a rail of coke, you know what I mean? It's like I'll tell you what I need. I need a magical person of color. I mean, like, and the thing about this show, it's a masterclass of letting, like, and some of them who are literally magical people of color. Like we have a medium, and we have like kind of like a halfway
birthright. He's like a part wizard.
Like part wizard. He's like
Wizard Atticus.
Yeah, he's got like the body of Captain America and Thor's powers of like the Rainbow Bridge, apparently, or some shit like that, and a medium within Letty. But they are the most like kind of human and flawed characters like of the show. You know what I mean? Like, I think is, I don't know. I think it's
like the antithesis of Stephen King, where the most magical person is the whitest woman possible.
Yeah.
So far, that's kind of her one beat is she's magic and shady.
Mm-hmm. Shady
we didn't even talk about this. Speaking of shade, there's a moment where Tick pulls a gun on her, and she basically, freezes him in place.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of gives him this like not subtle warning of like, you should be smarter, and opens the window to
I hated that
black man pointing a gun at a white woman.
He was like, not only am I again, like not only am I, it was a cold-blooded, really uncomfortable power move in a lot of ways, because she was like, I'm literally controlling your body, and I'm potentially I can turn against you, and the whole world is ready to turn against
also,
you.
like, white women fragility is like, that's kryptonite, don't touch it.
No, yeah, none of that shit.
Yeah.
None of that.
The other part of that scene, in which actually I don't even know if we mentioned this earlier, is that Morgan and I were kind of looking at the signage.
Oh yeah, because we were confused at first, and it was such a little detail, but it was so interesting. Because I remember we were reading when Tick is staking out the realtist, not the realtor, and we're like, oh, realtist, is that a word for that? And we just thought it was like an old timey word. And then I like looked it up, and apparently it was literally illegal for a black person to be a realtor. So you could be a realtist. Don't exactly know what the difference is, but I'm sure it's some way to screw you out of money somehow.
Oh my God. Thank you so much,
always
Louise. Thank you so much again. All right. Well, we're going to do, before we get into like the rest of our super chat stuff, and we're going to go back and we're going to take a look at all of those, I did want to, we have one last thing, as is tradition here on the Lovecraft Country live stream Thursdays. We got to have our slow-mo scene breakdown. And the shit was so good.
Little palate cleanser.
Little palate cleanser. It's like we kind of...
Moose boosh.
Totally. But we do got to do our slow motion one. And I don't think it's a fucking surprise to like anybody that of the scene that we're gonna do that for one. Which one do you guys think that I'm actually gonna pick? That's what I want to know.
I was assuming it was Ellie. It was our gal Ellie.
You're assuming it was gonna be our gal Ellie, and you would be right. I actually am gonna need it just a second to upload it, because that was the it would not be a
Lovecraft live chat
without one little hiccup, even though I think I'm not gonna be too hard on myself for this one.
These things take some time. I mean, I've done more reading since Lovecraft started than I have since college.
I love
great.
it.
No, it's awesome. I've done more like deep research on things that are actually like kind of like important to learn about that
100%.
I have in a really long time.
Well, it's stuff that I'm like, that's familiar. Because, like, I listen to a lot of history podcasts, but it's, like, it's nice to revisit history and actually be like, oh, shit, that was some real shit.
Right, 100%.
And it continues to be some real shit.
It does continue to be some real shit.
My gosh. Louise Brooks, a girl after my own heart.
Yeah.
She wanted the slow-mo Atticus butt shot.
I think we should just make that into a GIF.
I'm sorry. I saw one reviewer say that sex scene wasn't hot, and I'm like, you are so wrong. I wanted to be one of those annoying internet reply guys and been like, you are so wrong, and this is why.
Like, you are so wrong in so many different ways. Name three other better butt shots.
Name 3 other bathroom fuck scenes that you do like. You don't even know 2.
Oh my God. Oh man, I don't know. Like, well, here I'm trying to think. I'm having a hard time finding it right now in my little library. Well, here, let's just talk, like the slow. We'll save it for next week. We're gonna do 2 for next week.
We'll do 2.
2 for next week. One thing that I do have to say about the one question that I have from the Ellie Feelgood scene, and just so we can re-jog everybody's memory, let's just do this one. Good.
It's like I'm saying, Ellie Blinky 2020.
Ellie Blinky 2020. That's where I'm at. That's where y'all should be at. But the one thing that I want to know is, where did the head go?
Did we see it with the other bodies?
I don't remember if we did. I didn't do like a kind of a breakdown of that.
Because
that
I'm assuming that these are the friendly ghosts doing the elevator. And so I'm assuming that these friendly ghosts are now in the house. They would have probably kicked the head down the shaft.
Just give it a little fucking. Give it a
No,
little.
you know what it is? Because the basketball player is now fully whole. He's fully healed. He's like
He's dribbling.
bouncing that head, dunking it down that shaft.
Come on and slam. Hey, welcome to the gym. He's doing like a fucking a cool anti.
He's like, I got my head back. I got my skills back.
Right. 100%. That's
dunk
a good
this
one.
white boy head down an elevator.
So let's talk a little bit about what do you think Christina's like reasoning was behind, giving Letty the money and kind of coercing her to buy the house. I mean,
she needs something from the house and it's too dangerous, and she is making other people do her work as per usual.
Do you think that that hallway underneath is the tunnel to Winthrop's pages?
Are we going to?
She said it was booby trapped, and there's a bunch of dead bodies down there. Unless that's just all the bodies the house has killed.
Sure.
But it looked like it was like something leading somewhere.
Yeah. I do like at the beginning of the episode where they set it up, and it's like somebody mentioned earlier, it's tonally so different. But the way that they set it up like a horror movie, the 13 Ghosts sort of thing, that like, the dun dun,
Day one.
And
right.
But then they do the little fake out at the beginning where, a bunch of people move into a house, 3 people were never heard from again.
They never said that it was the black people who moved in.
Right.
Because that title card, I actually was like, oh, I missed that the first time around. When we see the title card and it says...
Yeah, 3 people were never heard from again. It's the 3 white
dudes.
They
were referring to the white people who went in there.
Oh, okay. So it was almost like a Texas chainsaw.
Very much so, yeah.
Definitely like a little bit of that. Plus, like
we had Texas Chainsaw, we had Shining,
Shining was absolutely like the like day 3. Like they didn't do
Geist.
Exactly.
13 Ghosts.
Aw, shit, child. We got ourselves a big old fucking horror mashup, child. Like that's get Zelda in there. I know I did that to death. Again, apologies or whatever. I have never one to not take a joke and run it straight into the ground. I think that was interesting. The next one, if anybody hadn't seen any of the coming attractions and stuff, it seems like they're going to the book, there was one thing that Christina was talking about where she wants to get those other pages.
Right. Yeah, so she can decipher the language of Adam.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of very much, it felt to me, again, like I've only been using this portion, and we were talking about how that looks like a spookier version of like an Indiana Jones type of a feel, like an adventure thing. I mean, they're even kind of doing where they have to walk on like a very narrow pathway to get somewhere. And like, that's very Raiders of the Lost Ark in the fact that like, that's like when they did that whole thing, they're digging in the wrong place, like where they only had like half of the map. And so they're like, and so I think that's to that end, that's a big thing is it Christina? Yeah. Is that her name? Yeah. It's Christina. Like she's going to be that dickhead French guy who leaves Indiana Jones and Karen Allen in the pit at the end of the episode. Yeah. Remember that? Like after because that's what I think is going to happen. They're going to find those pages, and then that fucking bitch is going to show up.
Well,
and
maybe
she'll be like, "Oh, thank you so much." Maybe they'll get one over on her, but I think she'll
drink out of the golden chalice.
You chose poorly.
Maybe she'll choose poorly. We don't know.
And I think we're going to see a lot more with like Hippolyta is going to kind of be, and her whole like astronomy bent is going to play into all this somehow.
As a book reader, I love Hippolyta in the book. So I'm hoping.
Even though this was definitely Jurnee's episode, because Tick was like kind of he was sort of the profile star of the first one. George was the fucking profile star of episode 2. Letty was. Mm-hmm. I want a Hippolyta episode. I want a Ruby episode.
I want a Ruby episode so bad.
And I do think that we're gonna get it. We still got we still got 7 more episodes.
That's insane.
There's so much more. So much has happened. So much has happened in this story, and there's so much.
We're going on a journey.
Bang! No, look at him right there.
Hey,
this guy
over here.
Oh man, I mean, like, so let's kind of go. All right, so I could, because I went in and went out of the chat. I'm having a hard time. Do we have any more of the old? Because let's get into some super chat stuff. Do we have any? Yeah. So like, let's
see
go.
Who we got?
Who do we got over there? We're gonna get into the super chat things again. I do want to say to everyone, I don't know how much we raised for the Milwaukee Bond Fund, but it is definitely more than we raised last week.
More
than last week. You guys are fucking amazing. Again, like, this is every time when we've done a live stream and every time that we've kind of done that and we've kind of committed to, not committed, but it's just, I don't know. That's what's cool about like the people that are in the comments and the people that roll up on our reaction vids and the kind of people that really get engaged, is that they literally are like our partners. They're like our research partners, like in this whole thing that I think is just like, I don't know. I can't thank everybody enough for throwing in for that.
I think we got one from Katie Ann we haven't gotten to.
Okay, excellent. Let's check it out. So I'm gonna I'll read it off because I don't think I don't think I'm able to pull it up. But Katie Ann, who threw in on the super chat, thank you again so very much, dear. Is the crypt below the house a metaphor for what's hidden and the evil within? Which is like the apocalypse equals unveiling, and will it hit hard when it's all exposed? So do they think that, like, is that, I think that kind of goes to what we were talking about before, where it's like how much is that going to play into the final, like, are we going to go down into that tunnel again?
Yeah, I mean, we saw the light up glyphs. So it's obviously this house is a front for some sort of magical place.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's I mean, I think the evil's not that hidden because that ghost guy was pretty loud. I mean, he was pretty loud with his evil, but it's definitely the house is a front for some cult stuff.
Yeah, right.
If I had to guess.
Right. And like, but like that was, again, like, and that was another thing that was really cool about this episode. And it's one thing that it was a great piece of writing and a nice little kind of mirror image, because it starts out when Letty kind of has like her little like Stranger Things moment and she kind of puts all the pictures together. And then the fucking Vigo the Carpathian bad guy comes out. He's like, and he's saying, "Get out of my house," all that shit.
We haven't even
right?
talked about when Jurnee says that. Get out of my house.
That's what's amazing is because that's what's incredible is that, like, that's what he's saying to her, and then Jurnee, who is he's attempting, this ghost and the spirit is attempting to victimize, and his previous victims basically kind of bond together, having kind of been being restored by finding out by kind of restoring their names, restoring their history, restoring their dignity.
Oh yeah, the calling out of the names I think was really the main like healing moment. That's when it changed. Like her calling out their names and giving them names, and they're no longer just like scary ghosts, they're humans.
Yeah, exactly. And then
that was
the thing. And then she gets to say it to him. She gets to haunt him.
I'm telling you, collective bargaining works. Okay?
And she screams, "Get out of my house." It was like, I will say, somebody had said this on the Lovecraft Country subreddit. I think that this is true. I mean, I think that this was definitely like, if this doesn't net Jurnee an Emmy nomination, if not a win. I mean, not to say, because there's a ton of, because The Wire would like a word, that the fucking Emmys mean shit, even though they should, even though they could do better, and hopefully they do better. But holy fuck, was that an Emmy? It's the same thing when it reminded me of when Peter Dinklage did his big fucking screed in his trial in season 4. It was like, "I saved you and all of your worthless lives." You're like, Emmy nomination. Like, that was kind of what I saw. Like, definitely at the end of that exorcism
scene, I was just like,
and everything else. I mean, again, like all of the fucking it's like Letty Baskin Robbins. It was like fucking like 31 flavors, like of all of this really complex and really awesome character that they were able to fucking put together. We got ourselves another one. We talked about, again, shout out to Black Velvet, gave us a great one. Shout out to MCJ who we did their super chat about J. Marion Sims, the modern gyno and everything. Thank you so much for that bit. Lawrence Brown gave us a little bit of a super chat. He didn't leave us with with so much a question, just kind of throwing in the pot for like a good cause, and we appreciate that very much. Kevin Warner, this kind of warmed my heart. This was cool. Kevin Warner, old homie, who went and saw us at the Con of Thrones in Nashville a couple of years back when we could do stuff.
We were supposed to be at the one in Florida.
We were supposed to be at
July.
the one. Yeah, but I'm just like, no, I'm not going to Florida.
No, I
No,
couldn't.
not 2020. Not going to Florida. But anyway, shout out to Kevin Warner. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much for that. And then who else do we have? Do we have any other ones that were good? Or did we get to them in real time? What do we got here?
I think all the other ones we mentioned because
Louise
Dustin kind of went through.
Louise, here's more. Jesus. Everybody's been so great. Shout out to Chance. Shout out to Louise Brooks. You know, I would absolutely. I feel. I mean, like, cool thing about it is like your guys's generosity and stuff like I feel like I know that we're not taking the money because we're just taking it. We're just putting it to people but I do feel that it's definitely like a special thing, especially in this time right now when your heart can be filled, with hope and joy. And like, that's one of the things that doing this live stream and this stuff, I think, definitely has been for me. What do we got? We got another one?
A little bit. I'm trying to find Katie Ann's other one.
Do we got another one from Katie Ann? Katie Ann, shout out your other question on the comments.
Type it again.
Type it again.
To find it.
We're trying to find it.
She said that she had another one.
We gotta find another one that we oh God, that'll be the next thing that we get better at for next one is saving the super chats because
people will super chat and then they actually have great stuff afterwards and they want to get, but when they're not highlighted, it's kind of hard to find. So I apologize, Katie, and I don't know what the other one was.
Yeah, Katie, shout it out in the comments what your other question was, and we'll answer that. And I think that was all the ones. But man, I mean, well, again, the other thing that's going to be interesting about this next episode is also the fact that it's Montrose. It's. Oh, here we go. All right, here we go. Katie, what do we got? I think so too. I think that that's totally fair. The fact that is Letty drawn to the spirits since she went to the other side and is able to kind of go between both worlds as a power and which may it grow stronger. I think that that's highly possible. I mean,
after this episode, I was saying, because it ended with Christina like swinging her white lady dick around, and I'm like, you are not even like considering Letitia fucking Lewis, but you better look the fuck out because she's died and come back.
Wait.
She just exorcised a demon from her house.
Yeah. She's
who was a cult member, the same cult that you are a part of.
Mm-hmm.
She, I don't think Christina's seeing Letty as a player.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really good for Letty.
Good for everybody, probably.
To hide in the corner, pop out at the end.
Right.
It's remember when they set the honey trap of kidnapping Montrose, they were not expecting Atticus to bring Letty. They're not related. She's
true.
Someone who happened to have a fight with her brother, so she ended up coming along. Letitia Lewis was not supposed to be there. It was her day off.
People are sleeping on her. Christina.
So, Christina, you better watch out, girl.
100%. I think that she even says that. That's kind of when she's in her kind of having her Jill Torrance, all ghost busting and losing your virginity make Letty a crazy girl type of thing or whatever. Also, that was one thing in that sex scene. I remember thinking, because the last time that she was kind of sort of intimate with Tick, he had like the fucking snake from Anaconda showed up and fucking like looked like it was ready.
She probably was like, "Oh, phew, it's normal."
Yeah, no, I was kind of waiting for her to kind of be like, yeah. Oh, okay, all right, cool, awesome.
Okay, we're cool. It's normal. Cool.
Awesome, good to go.
You got a normal one, but
that is a real penis. That is
it really does make you realize, like in the Anaconda scene, her hesitation where she goes, whoa, wait. Yeah. It wasn't because it was her first time.
Exactly. Oh, that's a nice. It almost makes it like a little bit of a callback. You watch that a little differently. Okay.
Miss. Oh, I wanna make that party punch.
Okay.
When she's running around with that juice.
Yeah, that looked. I'm thinking, what was it? What are they drinking at the party? I could probably. Okay, because I remember it looked kind of like orange.
Yes, it looked like an orange type of jungle juice.
Right, type of a thing. So I'm thinking, insofar as I would see Letty, because she
tequila lady.
Tequila, maybe. I mean, like there was like because like the kind of the. I was thinking it could possibly be something like you could do like a vodka OJ, maybe like a little bit of pineapple juice or something, because she was pouring them pretty tall.
I bet triple sec is involved.
Triple sec could get in there for sure.
Because I feel like it's a jungle juice where it's like going to be a couple things.
It's going to be a big,
it's going to be strong as fuck.
Yeah, it's like, that was definitely.
I'm going to tweet at Misha Green. Like, what's like
what was in Letty's juice?
Yeah, what's Letty's 1-2 punch? What is it?
I like the 1-2 punch. I mean, she had a 1-2 punch of a night. I mean,
it's definitely LFL's 1-2 punch.
LFL's 1-2 punch.
I've been calling her LFL.
Pretty good.
Because she's Letitia fucking Lewis.
That's right.
But yes, it's definitely the 1-2 punch.
1-2 punch. I'm thinking, yeah. Well, I mean, and she had a 1-2 punch of a night. I mean, she's like lost my virginity, fucking like break some windows of some racists. Like it was
got arrested.
You know, like I mean, that whole thing. How about this? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, unless we can find out. Unless there's some text, and if we can get in touch with Misha Green, if we can find out something like that, even though I doubt that, you know.
She's busy right now.
She's a little busy. Yeah. But if we can figure out, if we can't find out the recipe, we should come up with one that we can make.
Okay.
For ourselves, and then we should see if we can come up. So maybe coming up while you're watching Lovecraft Country, you can have yourself a little LFL 1-2 punch while you're watching. That would be pretty fucking fun. I'd be down for something like that. All right, well, cool. I think we got everyone. But anyway, Shatara Brookhart. Yes, I was wondering what the fuck that was. That is something like whenever there's a punch, whenever there's a drink.
Oh, I always want to know. What are you drinking?
I always want to know. Yeah, right. Yes, I always want to know what you're drinking.
What are you drinking? Can I have some?
Oh, we got ourselves your Maya Huxtable. Oh, shit.
Thank you.
That means it literally means the world. It really does. And we I don't know, man. I think we got
Did we get there?
Ooh, hold on.
Oh wait, what do we got?
We got this is a fun okay. I think that our MVP of this one of our MVPs of the stream is gonna be Miss MCJ right here. But let's just what was this talking about? Because I saw this in the comments, but I didn't get away from me. What was
whenever they were saying Tulsa, I assumed it was the Tulsa riots.
Yeah, totally.
But I mean, we I have Watchmen on the brain, so
was it Uncle George who mentioned?
He wakes him up and says, "Oh," and with the anecdote, that story you used to always tell us how you were saved in Tulsa by the guy with the baseball bat.
So.
And he says, "I got you, kid," which Jackie Robinson says in the first episode.
In Dream, which I thought, but again, was another like they kind of they interweaved it. But
a baseball bat. Yeah.
Do you understand that means that there is potentially
oh no
an Uncle George and And oh god damn it, what was his character in Watchmen? Son of a bitch. Hold on one second. What's his
That's
name?
gonna drive me crazy.
Hold on. Watchmen. Hold on, it's killing me. Uncle George and Will Reeves team up.
They're twin brothers. They went separate ways.
They're twin brothers. You got Uncle George and Hooded Justice. Potentially hang out like that. I mean, that was a house party. Like the house party in this episode looked banging. I would definitely want to go to that house party that those two guys were hanging out at.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Watchmen, Lovecraft Country crossover. There could be and then you get Yaya could come in and explode the heads of a bunch of these howdy doody white boys. Like we'd have ourselves. He'd be a nice little trifecta of racist killing things. Well, anyway, thanks a lot to Black Velvet pointing out Will Reeves. We appreciate that. Man, awesome live stream. Again, I cannot thank you guys enough. I'll definitely put this in at our Instagram. Our Instagram is at House Burlington. I'm going to do like a little screenshot of how much money we were actually able to raise from the super chats. And we'll let you guys all know. I think we did a tremendous amount of good tonight. And again, like to do some good and have fun. That's kind of what
it's all about in these dark times,
especially right now. So I just want to say, shout out to MCJ, shout out to Chance, Shatara, Louise Brooks, Katie, Miss MCJ, Gabe. No,
Gabe, I am not going to insult Nina Simone like that.
No, that's the one that right.
I will not besmirch.
There never. I mean, like in an era where there probably is. I think we said this last time, but there is a fucking tweety white couple from Ohio.
I'm gonna get my ukulele out.
Get it, like doing a ukulele cover of "Wet Ass Pussy" right now. And like, I am not going to fucking do. No, never.
Yeah. Also, if you guys want to continue the conversation, you want to hop on our Discord. If you're a fan of Discord,
oh hell yeah!
Just send us a message, and I'll get you the link for that. You can send us an email, watchingthebar@gmail, or you can just hit us up on Instagram or Twitter. Twitter is Watchers and the Bar. That's our Watchers and the Bar podcast Twitter handle. And we'd be happy to have you on the Discord because we talk about this.
We have a Lovecraft country channel on our Discord.
We do. Is that where they can reach us? And
that's one way, or you can message me directly or Sean or any of us, and we'll be happy to get you hooked up on the Discord. Yeah, because that Discord is a lot of fucking fun, man. It's like you got Theory Zone, you got the Meme Zone, and just like I don't know, it's just like if you're digging this little community of people, you know, like you get to have that all week on our Discord. So I think that's something that you guys should maybe take a look at. Again, I just want to say thank you again to everyone. This is becoming covering this show is becoming like one of the highlights. It started out, it was the highlight of my week, but it's just becoming more and more so. And it's because of y'all. We really appreciate it. Next week, we're gonna have ourselves a special guest. That I cannot wait for it to get her on here easily. You know, I like our stuff. I like our product. I like our videos. But it's always fun to be bested, to be eclipsed. If you guys want another great reaction channel that's covering this show, you should look up. She's gonna be a guest on the next week's live stream. Her name is Manic Meeks. She is absolutely amazing. Look up Manic Meeks on YouTube. On the YouTube.
Funny as shit.
Oh my god, she's so fucking hilarious. On
her first video, she told Blinky to eat the cop's ass from rooter to motherfucking tutor.
Rooter to the motherfucking tutor.
And I lost it. So look up those videos; they're really funny.
Look up Manic Meeks on YouTube if you want to get a little clue into a great channel, and if you want to kind of get a little acclimated with one of our guests that we're going to have with us next week, of which I am so fucking excited to be a part of. Thank you to everybody. Thank you everybody who did a super chat and threw in. We did a lot of good tonight. I love and appreciate y'all, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye everybody.
Bye.
See ya.